So, to be honest, if I was on a ferry or a punt or rowing, and I found Rich Hasnett, my lecturer that I was talking about earlier, walking along the river next to me, my instant thought would not be, I'm going to jump out and walk with you. I understand the Cam, that's the river in Cambridge, and I know that you don't really want to go in that. There's trolleys and skank and that, and you don't want to risk it. But Peter, the nutter that he is, did. Yeah. I would like to give myself a break. I'm going to say that I can say this with some confidence because he did just witness the feeding of the 5,000. He just saw Jesus feed probably more 12 to 15,000 because it didn't include men and women, probably fed that many with just 2 fish and 5 loaves. And so he was in a mindset to expect the unnatural, or if you prefer, the supernatural. He was in a mindset to expect that stuff. So he sees Jesus walking in the water, and he goes, wow, he just did something like this. It can happen more. He involved me in that one before. He can involve me in this. So one of the things that I really want to highlight to you guys is to expect the unnatural. Expect the supernatural. Because this story is about the same Jesus that we walk with today. Sorry for the pun with walk. But if we don't expect the unnatural, we're not going to see it. So out of this expecting the unnatural, Peter takes the initiative and he asks Jesus' response. And he gets one word: come. The ultimate test of faith is then to respond on the word come. A single word. That's all he gets. And it's a massive test of faith. If Keith were to say to me, come, walk off the stage and just keep walking, I'd have to prove my faith in Keith. This is a flawed metaphor, I apologize. Just to step out and walk and not fall. No offense, Keith, you're a bit far away to catch me. I'm not going to try and get this. You're faster. Are you faster than Jesus? Oh, go and answer. Are you faster than you look? Yeah, but are you faster than Jesus? No, that's what I thought. So, in the same way that I've just said I'd struggle to step off the stage, would you guys have a similar sort of faith? Would you naturally just have that faith that wants to step out? Because it'd be like being at the top of a diving board and looking down, seeing an empty pool, and having Jesus stand next to you going, go on, jump, jump. It just, every time you look at him going, you're mental, Jesus. He just goes, jump. Would you have the faith to, on that one word, to jump? So I know we're not always on those situations. We're not fishing and conveniently see Jesus walk past, or we're not at the top of a diving board with an empty pool. But there'll be stuff going on in our lives right now that we have to take that step. We have to step out on just the single word of come. And for me, I'll be very honest with you. Jesus' one word, preach. I got an email from Gareth saying, yeah, we're going to have you, here's some of the stuff we're going to do. Oh yeah, Keith set out one Sunday for you to preach. And my mind just went, I'm not ready for this. I can't do that. But I'm here. I had to step out on that one word, preach. And I had to spend time preparing stuff. And it's not been a brilliant time. It's not been fun. Be honest. These guys have a tough job. But think about what your preach, your jump, your come is. What is that one word that you're being asked to do? that thing that you need to step out into. So if you just think on that for a moment, and then we'll go on to the Peter who sank. So if you look at verse 30, I'll just read it once more. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." There's a few things that I want to highlight before we really dig into this. Peter was already walking on the water. He'd stepped out of the boat, and he didn't sink then. He was walking on the water, and then got distracted. It is when he noticed his surroundings that he started to sink. It wasn't he was walking and then suddenly the bit that he wasn't going to walk on happened. He switches. The change is in him. If you look at the passage in the verse before, the two things mentioned are Peter and Jesus. In verse 30, it's Peter and the wind and the waves, that sort of thing. There's a literary change, and I don't think God does that by accident. There is a change there, and there is a change in what actually physically happens. So, the thing that I'd say made him sink is he took his eyes off Jesus. He lost his focus. His focus moved from where he was going, his goal, to the challenge in front of him, to the waves, the things like that. And it seemed to be too big for him. It seemed to scare him. It frightened him even. And at that point, he sinks. I remember this when I was in sixth form college. I used to be in the volleyball team. It doesn't really look like it because I'm quite short, but they needed the people. So with that, it's clear we weren't brilliant. But I remember, I think, like one of our 2 competitions we ever went to. There was this guy who was apparently, I heard by the end of the day, he was the UK juniors, the junior UK team's captain. And his forearms, his biceps, were the size of my thighs. It was ridiculous. He was massive. He was like double my height. He was basically my Goliath. And this guy is very good at volleyball, and his serve was horrible. He'd throw it up, and it'd almost hit the ceiling. He'd run, jump higher than me, and smash it. Every time, we couldn't stop it. Apart from when we focused on winning the point, not on his serve. When we looked at the goal, winning the point, we managed to do it. When we looked at his serve, his arm, his jump, his smash, whatever we looked at, we'd fall, we'd fail, we'd sink. But when we looked at the point, the goal, that is when we succeeded. Be a brilliant, lovely story if I could then say, yeah, we won, got a medal. We didn't. I think we beat like one team that day, and they absolutely lost. So we'll forget that bit. So likewise today, in volleyball, in whatever your wave is, whatever you're walking on today, it will be so much easier when you focus on Jesus. In the preparing of this preach, so many times I had to remind myself of my own point because I started to panic that it was too big for me. The idea of preaching was too much for me. But I just said, no, I'm going to look at you. Whatever you want me to say, I'll say. So that is all I can urge you to do. Focus on Jesus in whatever you're going through right now. And it will become so much easier